Hello everyone and welcome back to Python lessons on Codecademy. So today we will be working with lists. Well, the first lesson is on dictionaries, but from what I saw when I was looking at it, it's mostly about lists. So let's get started. The first task wants us to create our own Python dictionary, myDict, in the editor to the right with 2 or 3 key value pairs. So let's do that. So how we create a dictionary is similar to how we create a list, but we use curly brackets and we need commas, and as well as the key. So I'm just gonna call the key because, as I said before, it doesn't change much when you're not actually making a program. So key1, why not call it hello? And then you have to put a comma. So the key is like the index, and then the value here is like the element in the list, if you're comparing it to a list. As I think that we've covered that before. So yeah, then let's make 3 elements, why not? And then this can be hey, and the last one can be hi. Oops, I usually do forget the comma, so let's try not to forget the comma. For the last element, you don't need a comma, because it's just how it works. And because when you're counting for the last element, you don't put a comma or and after it, you just put a full stop. So I'm guessing that that's how Python works. Then when we're done with this, we need to print the result of calling myDict.items and parentheses. So what I'm guessing this is going to do is print hello, hey, and hi. That's my guess. Nope, it doesn't. It also prints the keys with those. So it prints the key and then the element as a tuple, I think. Okay, interesting. Because I guess it's item, so it prints everything. Okay, let's move on then. Keys and values. Remove your call to items and... okay, so let's remove that. And replace it with call to keys and call to values, each on its own line. Make sure to print both. Okay, then let's do that. Oops, I need to actually print that. Dot keys and the same thing, dot values with a print in front of it. So I'm guessing what this is going to do is dot keys is going to print all of the keys, so it's going to print key 1, key 2, and key 3. Whereas dot values is going to print hello, hey, and hi. And I was correct. And it's all in a list with single what are they called? Speech marks. Okay, interesting. So it gives us a new list. So I'm guessing that we can assign a variable to equal to this, and it's going to equal to the keys, and we can assign a new variable to equal to the values to make a new list equal to the values. So that's also interesting. Maybe it can be used in some programs. I can't think of any obvious examples right now, but that sounds pretty useful to me. So let's move on. The in operator. So let's see what this task wants us to do. For each key in myDict, print out the key, then a space, then the value stored by that key. You should print using print a, comma b, rather than print a plus blank space plus b. So we need to print the key and then the value of the key. So we need to do this, because if we print the key, then it's going to give us the key. As we're looking through the keys, when you're looking through a dictionary, you're not actually looking through the elements, which is opposite to a list. In the list, you're looking through the elements, not the indexes. And to get the value, you need to do myDict and square brackets with the key, which is just like using the index in a list. So let's see if this is correct. Yes, it is. So it prints our whatever was left from our last task, which is the keys and the values, and then it prints the key with its value, so key 3 with hi, key 2 with hey, and key 1 with hello. I don't know why it's doing it backwards though. I don't understand that, but maybe we'll get to know that later on, hopefully. For now, let's just move on. Building lists. Okay. So check out the list comprehension example in the editor. When you're pretty sure you know what it'll do, click save and submit code to see it in action. So let's look at it. And so evens to 50 creates a list, which we can recognize from the square brackets, which is going to contain, so we can recognize that for I in range 51. So that starts at 0, finishes at 50. If I is evenly divisible by 2, so if it's an even number, then it adds it to evens to 50. So what I'm guessing this list is going to do is have the values 0, 2, 4, 6, all the way up to 50. So let's see if I'm correct. Yes, I am. So, okay, this is kind of, I can't really explain what this does for now, but in the next 2 lessons that we will do now, I will try to do my best in explaining it. So let's move on. So we need to use list comprehension to build a list called even squares in the editor. Your even squares list should include the squares of the even numbers between 1 to 11. Your list should start at 4, 16, 36 and go from there. Okay then, so we have to have square brackets, and again I will explain what this does later on. And for I in range, oops, caps lock, and that's not how you spell range. Range, and starting at 1, finishing at 11, therefore we need to finish at 12 because it stops at 12 or before 12. Then we need to do if I is evenly divisible by 2, and that should be appended. Let's see if that works. No, it doesn't. Oh right, we need to square that. So I think that I can explain it now. So this is like this is what's done before this part is done, and this checks or goes through the list to make a list. So this is like a for loop, and I becomes each of those values, and this is as if it's nested under that for loop, as if this was it had a colon and it was indented under it. If I is evenly divisible, then we need to do something to it or not do anything, depending. And then we need to once it's done checking that, it's going to, I'm guessing, return that I for that value is can be appended, and then before we append it we just square it, because that's what the task requires us to do. So this is done at the end, whereas this is done before everything, and that part checks if if our value is what we want. I don't really know how to explain it any better than that, because even I'm not that familiar with it. So if you guys can explain it better, then that's great. Go ahead and put it in the comments. It's going to help me out and the other people watching out there. So thank you for that. Otherwise, ask me in the comments. Maybe I can explain it in a different way if you would like to see that. But for now, we will just move on to task 6, where we will finish for today. So use a list comprehension to create a list, cubes by 4. Okay, cubes by 4. Make a list. And the comprehension should consist of cubes of the number 1 through 10, only if the cube is evenly divisible by 4. So for I in, oops, in range. For I in range, then we need to start at 1, finish at or before 11, and only add it if I is evenly divisible by 4. And this needs to be cubed, that what we're appending. And then this you might think would work, but it's actually not going to work. And this is because we're oh no, that's not the error I was expecting. Okay, let's see. For I in range that if okay, so what's wrong with this error? Your code looks a bit off. You got the following message: invalid syntax, Python line 1. Cubes by 4 equals a list for I in range. Is this going to work? It should. No, it doesn't. Okay. Why isn't it working? I to the power of 3 for I. Oops, that's why it's not working. So how we had it before is like this. Okay. Wrong length. It should have 5 values, but currently it only has 2, and I need to do print to show that. Sorry about this. Let's see. Yes. So as you can see, currently the list only has 2 values, but it should have 5 values. This is because this is done before this is done. So I in this case is going to be 1. So if 1 is divisible, evenly divisible by 4, then it's true, and we can append 1 to the power of 3, 1 as our cubes by 4. If it's not, which it isn't, then it does nothing to it. And therefore we only have 2 values, 4 and 8, which are evenly divisible by 4 in the range of 1 to 10. But to get it, what the task is actually wanting us to do is that the cube number should be evenly divisible by 4, not the original number. What we did in the previous task was check if the original number is divisible by 4. How we can check if the cube number is divisible by 4 is by doing if I to the power of 3 is divisible by 4. So what we should have now is the correct list. As you can see, now we have 5 elements, and those should all be correct. I'm not going to check because I'm going to trust the computer, as I've shown even with the calculator once. So if you'd like something explained more thoroughly, then please do ask in the comments. Otherwise, please like the video if you like the video, share, subscribe, it helps me out. Dislike if you didn't like the video, and tell me what you didn't like about it so that I can improve for next time. Until next time though, thanks for watching and goodbye.